All right, welcome back to the Virtue Bowling Supply YouTube channel. My name is Chris and I'm here to bring you guys the high rev perspective.
And my name is Josh and I'll be bringing the low rev perspective.
Today we're gonna be taking a look at the brand new Radical Vexed, and I'm gonna be comparing that to the Radical Evil Eye and the Brunswick Combat Hybrid.
And I'll also be comparing it to the Radical Evil Eye and the Brunswick Combat Hybrid. These comparisons will give us and you an idea of what these pieces look like going down the lane. At the end, we will give our honest, unbiased review anywhere from nuts to trash. With that being said, we are here on a fresh house shot at Bolero Union Hills. With that being said, make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you out on the lanes.
I was a huge fan of the Evil Eye. I think that ball was really slept on after it came out, and this one kind of picks off right where it left off. I think this one's pretty good. I do think it's just like a fraction cleaner. I noticed with the Evil Eye, my misses that I kind of get around it, it never really like sees the friction too much. It jumps off of it. This one, I saw that just a little bit more, I feel like. When I got forward, it was early enough and round enough that it went through the pins and still retained energy. But the misses that I got around it, there was a couple where it saw the friction a little too much and went straight through the face and Greek church and 4-6. So I definitely see those kind of misses. So I definitely think that this one is just a fraction of like a step down from the Evil Eye. So now I'm gonna go ahead and throw the Evil Eye and see how that compares. These 5 shots definitely kind of confirmed what I've seen from this ball in the past. To me, this one is definitely a smoother, more rounded shape than the Vex. It's not too crazy different, but I can definitely tell the roundness of it. I didn't quite have that friction spot where the Vex kind of jumped through the face. This one was definitely a lot more rounded and forward going through the pins. So now I'm gonna go ahead and throw the Combat Hybrid and see how that compares. These two fit a very similar spot in the bag, I feel like. Even though the Combat Hybrid, I feel like floats down the lane a little bit more, the big core feels like it kind of wants to start up a little earlier than most hybrids. So to me, these kind of fit a similar spot. Here, I definitely felt like the misses right were definitely better with the Combat Hybrid just because it was pretty round and strong and chuggy. This is left, I think the cover was just a little too clean and it didn't want to see it. So I really had to kind of keep my ball speed lower. I think overall, it just wanted to have that rounded shape just a little bit further down the lane than the Vexed. Final thoughts on the Vexed. I really liked the Evil Eye and I was really excited to see what they did with this one. To me, I feel like this was really, really good ball reaction, especially here when it felt like there was a decent amount of oil in the middle part of the lane. It handled it really well, and even with the quickness that it had in a couple of the shots, I feel like it even blended the friction really well. I saw a lot of really good kind of continuation going through the pins, so to me, this ball reaction was really, really good. To me, I don't know if it's gonna quite push the nuts category, but I feel like it fits somewhere in between fire and nuts. So to me, I think this needs a little bit more time to go in the nuts category, so I think the fire category is a really good spot for this one.
This ball for me, wasn't sure what quite to expect. It kind of had the Evil Eye symbol, but wasn't quite sure if it was supposed to be like a new version of that. And to me, it felt like pretty similar, honestly. I felt like it was just a little bigger of a ball, but I liked that. I felt like for me, the one thing I didn't love about the Evil Eye was that it just felt like sometimes it would be a little too clean for me and would get into a position where it didn't quite want to hook in oil. And this one, I feel like solved that. I felt like this one I could miss in and it would just peel off the spot, but at the same time, you know, I got it right and it was still strong enough to be smooth and controllable off friction and didn't want to go sideways on me, which I really loved. I also felt like with the, you know, you'll see with the original Evil Eye, that was kind of more of the case. But for this one, I was able to kind of creep a little further left, get a more around it, and I felt like it was still weak enough to create down lane angle as well. So this one I really liked in the bag. I feel like it's going to be a versatile piece, especially on different types of volumes. I feel like this can be thrown when there is volume, but also like kind of manufacture hold when there isn't. So now we're going to go ahead and throw 5 shots with the Radical Evil Eye and see how it compares. This ball for me, kind of like I hinted earlier, was definitely a little bit cleaner. Felt like I had to play a little straighter with it and more on top of the cliff, just because it didn't overall hook as much. Again, I felt like this one just naturally felt like it got through the fronts a lot easier than the Vexed, and I just felt like it allowed me to kind of play more on top of the friction. Did I love that? Kinda. Did it roll pretty good? Yeah, but I will say my shot execution was a little kind of wonky. The approaches for me here are always slick, so just kind of tried to get settled in the first couple of shots, but overall still gave me a good ball motion. Just I would prefer the Vexed over this one. So now we're gonna go ahead and throw 5 shots with the Combat Hybrid and see how it compares. This ball for me is starting to become a new favorite. I feel like it's that bigger ball that still shapes down lane, and I love the way it rolls. I feel like I can play straighter with it, but also still kind of swing it and throw it to friction. And compared to the Vexed, I feel like it's definitely a ball down, but still kind of gives an overall similar shape. So bowling on something where you're trying to mimic that shape just in a weaker ball, this is definitely kind of the 1-2 punch. Final thoughts on the new Vexed. For me, this ball kind of shocked me. I felt like it was going to be a little bit stronger than what it was, but I actually liked that it wasn't. Felt like because it was a little cleaner, it actually was a big ball that continued through the pins really well. And for that reason, I am going to give this ball a fire. I felt like this ball really kind of my biggest thing is always looking for mystery in both directions, and this ball was another ball that gave me that. It's not always solids, it's not always pearls, it's just really defined by the type of shape going down the lane, and this ball kind of fits that shape where it doesn't really matter which direction you miss, it's still wanting to shape off friction in the right way. So for that reason, it's going to be a fire.
Thank you guys so much for watching. If you found this video useful, make sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next one.